Hi, this is Marsha.
And this is Kelly.
We are the 2U's of 2U's Fiber Adventures. Thanks for stopping by.
You'll hear about knitting, spinning, dyeing, crocheting, and just about anything else we can think of as a way to play with string.
We blog and post show notes at 2usfiberadventures.com.
And we invite you to join our 2U's Fiber Adventures group on Ravelry. I'm 100 Projects.
And I am Better in Motion.
We're both on Instagram and Ravelry, and we look forward to meeting you there.
Enjoy the episode. Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Marsha.
How are you doing?
Well, it's early, first of all.
We're early. Not drinking, at least I'm not drinking a beer or wine. I'm drinking coffee.
Oh, no. No, I have coffee. I'm not even dressed. I'm in my bathrobe and pajamas. It's been a wild week here.
Yes.
So it's finals week. Just let people in on a little of my life. It's finals week here, and actually that was going really well. For some reason, because of our trip that we're planning. Although I probably could have gotten away with some slower grading, but I had this plan of being really efficient in my grading and getting everything done like right as it came in and being really on top of it. And I am so glad that I did that and was so disciplined, because Wednesday I ended up having to make an emergency trip up to the Sacramento area, which is almost 4 hours away, up to my dad's and back. Luckily, we were able to come back the same day. It turned out to be nothing, but he needed someone to be there with his wife. So we did that trip up there, and all the way up there, not knowing how long I'm going to have to stay. Is he going to be in the hospital for a long time, or is he just there and they're going to send him home like he thinks? And so that was a lot of miles and a lot of hours in the car. The good news is there's a lot of knitting time.
This is what I've discovered. Actually, this is what I've discovered with my mom. All the trips to the emergency room, always bring your knitting, because there's a lot of time just sitting around. A lot.
Well, it was funny. While I was sort of, he called at about 10 to 6, which is never a good thing to get a call at 10 to 6.
In the morning, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So while I was running around getting my stuff together, I was focusing on grabbing the knitting, also on making sure I had my grading with me, and I had to have somebody proctor my exam. But anyway, I had, I think, 4 projects in my knitting bag because of where I was in each of them. It's like, okay, this isn't going to be enough if I have to stay a couple of days. So anyway, so that we did that, and then yesterday was a planned trip to see Robert's dad and his wife, to get ready for the trip to Arkansas, talk to him about where all of his relatives lived and look on maps and kind of get a sense of directions. You go to the Y in the road and then you turn right and there's a church on the left. And this is his memory from over 30 years ago. So we'll see. But we were able to find most of the roads he talked about on our phone maps, and I took screenshots of them. So we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to be trying to find on this trip. But anyway, so that was another 3+ hours both ways in the car. So yeah, I think Robert said like over 650 miles in 2 days.
Oh, goodness.
So needless to say, the cold that I was outrunning, because the whole last 2 weeks of school, I felt like I was outrunning a cold. It was like barely trying to get me, and I was getting away. Well, it has caught me, and it has me in its clutches. So there may be sniffling and coughing, and probably my voice sounds a little funny.
Well,
but yeah, wild week. But everything's great. Everybody's fine. I feel good. I have no reason to complain, and my grading was all caught up, so it really didn't throw me. The time didn't really throw me for a loop either. I'm still on track to get everything done in time, and then I get to pack quickly for a trip. So
well, I also had a trip to the emergency room. with my mom. However, it's a long, complicated story, but I'll make it brief. She had a fall. So what day is today? This is Friday. So she had a fall Wednesday evening. And so yesterday morning, they said that she was complaining that her arm hurt and her hip hurt, and she was having difficulty standing. So they decided to send her to the emergency room by ambulance. And by the time I got the message and got to the emergency room, she had been discharged.
Well, and tell the other part. By the time you got to the correct,
yes, because they sent me to the wrong emergency room. There's two. Oh my God. She went to Swedish here in Seattle, up as we say Pill Hill, where all the hospitals are. And apparently I did not realize that there's two. And so they sent me to the wrong one. So I had parked my car, got to the emergency room. They said they had nobody there by that name. And she said, "Are you sure you're the right one?" And I said, "Well, gosh, I don't know." And then, so they sent me to the one that she does it. Because I've been to up there before, right? So that's the one they thought that she was going to. So that's where I went. Turns out she went to the other one that we've never gone to before. So I had parked my car, which if anybody knows Seattle and all of Seattle, and then up there by the hospitals, parking is horrible. But I finally found a space in a parking garage, park the car, get in there. She's not there. Go back to the car, have to get out of the parking garage, drive to the other emergency room, find a place in the parking garage. And then I get to the room and they say, to the emergency room, and they said, "Yeah, she's here, but you wait. We have to figure out where she is." And so I'm waiting, and I keep asking, like, "Oh yeah, she's about to be discharged. Just wait here because they'll bring her out." And I wait, and finally I say, "Where?" And they, "Oh, she's ready." So they send me back to the room where she is, and they say, "Well, she's not here anymore." And I'm like, "Well, where is she?" Because she has dementia, right? And so turns out she'd been discharged. I'm like, "Well, discharged to who?" Like, where is she? I mean, I was sort of panicking a little bit. Like, where'd she? Well, they put her in an ambulance and sent her back to her residence where she lives. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, now what is this going to cost me? An ambulance up there and an ambulance back.
Yeah, a little more than Uber.
A little more than Uber, and a whole lot more than me in my car, right?
Right.
So anyway, so I go then back to her residence where she lives, and there she was, and happy, and they were having a little cocktail hour, so she was down at the cocktail hour, and didn't remember where she'd even been.
Right.
And so I'm going to tell something sort of personal about her. She has an incontinence problem. So as almost everybody at her residence has a problem, everyone talks about it. And anyway, I said to her, "I think maybe we need to go change." And she said, "Okay." So we go down to her apartment to change. And she takes her, and she's, "What are those?" Anyway, when she was at the hospital, they must have put her in adult diapers. And she's like, "What are those? Where did they come from?"
How did this happen?
Because
oh my gosh.
I mean, okay, it's horrible and kind of embarrassing, but in situations like this, what do you do but laugh, right? You just got I was
That's
like, okay,
exactly right.
These things that are sort of these trips to the emergency room were sort of traumatic for me, are nothing for her because she doesn't even remember, and so I did talk to the nurse too when I was there at the emergency room, like trying to figure out where my mom is. She said, "Oh, she was so great. She was so funny." And she wanted to leave, but we knew she couldn't leave. So we just had her sitting by the nurse's station, and she was just talking to everybody and greeting people. And I'm like, okay, that's my mom,
Yes. Well, that's really great.
Yeah, I know.
That she's happy like that.
Yeah, she's very happy. She's super happy, but it's kind of funny. And then she's really happy that there was a cocktail hour too. So
right. Wow, I got home in time
for the cocktail hour. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So aging parents and trips to the emergency room, but because I was doing all this running around, I didn't do any knitting. I was running around trying to find my 91-year-old mother.
Right, you weren't waiting in the emergency room. You were finding parking. And
yeah, right.
Finding your mother. Oh, dear.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I have gotten quite a bit done. I have a finished object for this week. And so that's pretty exciting. But what about you? Are you knitting on anything right now?
Well, I'm working on my easy folded poncho. because that's good. That's really good, as we say, like emergency room knitting or podcasting knitting, because as you remember, it's just a stockinette rectangle. So I'm working on that. So that's what I'm working on. Okay. And I have I've knit about 37 inches. And
okay, so you're quite a ways along.
So I have to knit 50 inches. Mm-hmm. And then the pattern, you can make it with a cowl neck or without the cowl. I decided I'm going to put the neckline on, so I have to do that. But I've set a goal. I've decided I want to have this finished so I can wear it to Black Sheep.
Oh, nice.
So that's about a month away?
Yeah.
When I pick up my knitting to start knitting, I put in a little clip so I know where I started. And then I knit, and I'm doing about 2 inches, anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2 inches in an evening.
Oh, that's nice.
So I think I'm on track to finish.
Yeah.
So
well, that's good. And are you liking knitting with that yarn?
Yeah.
It's the hempathy, right? No, silky wool.
Yeah, the silky wool. Right? And I was, as I've been knitting on, I think it feels kind of rough. I wonder if I'm going to like this, and I have to go back and feel my washed sample because it's very soft, and I think it's going to be a really nice poncho. And do you remember this is the yarn I was going to originally use for the
Rodeo Drive.
Yes, thank you.
Right?
Yes. Isn't it funny? Once I finish it, I can't remember the name.
That's how I am with books.
Yeah. But remember, I didn't think it worked very well with that cable. I think this pattern is perfect for it because it's just, as we'd say, it's just stockinette. So there's no cabling, no detail. Yeah. And I think it's going to be perfect for
drapey.
this. Yeah. It's going to be perfect in this. So that's what I'm working on. But I did finish a project. I started and finished a project because I made another hat.
All right.
And I made the hat. It's called the Meret, Meret, by Woolly Wormhead. And I used the Jackson by Mountain Meadow Wool that I bought over in Ellensburg. And I have to say, I love the yarn. It's kind of poofy and I don't know, it's really nice yarn to knit with. But I don't like how the hat turned out. And it could be because it's sort of a beret style with lace. And it feels like the yarn is more rustic.
Oh, yeah.
I love the yarn, I love the pattern, but I don't think they work well together.
Right, not a good match.
Not a good match. And then the other thing about the pattern, and I guess this is because it's more of a beret style, it only comes down to just over the tops of my ears. So I think that I'm always going to be tugging at it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rip it out and I'm going to make another hat.
I was going to ask you if you were going to do that. Yeah. You should make something more, I don't know, more like a slouchier style or a... Yeah,
I think it should be something that doesn't have lace. And I just want, I think what I really want is just sort of like a basic hat that comes down low and maybe a little slouch or something, I think. Yeah.
Aunt Betty made me one. I think it's called the Beekeeper's Hat.
I'll write this down.
In the pattern, it's a golden color and it has this honeycomb stitch detail.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know, not cables, but like, you know how you do like the traveling stitches kind of where I don't remember how you do them, but they kind of lean and then the other ones lean the other way. And so that's what makes the pattern. And it's really nice. The one I have is made out of alpaca. So it's kind of grown. It's gotten to be a little bit big, but it's a really comfortable hat.
Yeah.
I don't know if the stitch detail would work as well. The same thing, I don't know if the stitch detail would work as well with the more rustic yarn, but it wouldn't have the lace in it, and it is long enough. It goes over my ears, and then it's a little slouchy, but not a ton. Not like the what's that one called? The sock head hat. Not like the sock head hat that I have that I could probably stuff another person's head into. So
okay, I'll take a look at that then.
Yeah, it's not. I think it's a nice hat. It doesn't have ribbing. I always think of hats as like 2x2 rib at the bottom, and then you go up and you have some design. And it doesn't have that. It just starts with the design. But I think in a stretchier wool, it would it would still fit really well, fit tight to your head. In the alpaca, it really doesn't. It's kind of slippery.
Yeah.
So I have to be careful when I wear it. There have been a couple of days where I've worn it to school like an accessory, not just to keep my head warm and then take it off when I get there. And one day I'm in class and I turn around and my hat flies off. Like, okay, I'm not able to pull this off. Oh, yeah. And when you're my age, wearing stocking caps as an accessory, slouchy stocking caps as an accessory is maybe not the best thing. But, if you just do it with confidence, and so that's what I thought, I'll just do this. But if you just do it with confidence, if I just wear this with confidence, I don't have to worry if it's like a good look for me or whatever. I think it looks good on, but... is it work attire? Yeah. Right? Oh, the students wear cute hats. So, okay, I'm going to wear this hat. Well, when I turned around and it flew off.
You just need to bring a knitting needle with you and stick it in through the hat, through your hair.
Through my hair, yeah.
Like a hat.
That's a good idea. I have one of those little sticks for a ponytail holder. I had never thought about that. It was shawl pin that you use for a shawl pin. Oh, my gosh. That's a really good idea, though. I should try it. With my hair, it would stay on. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, the thing about this hat, what I really liked about it is is you're talking about the 2x2 ribbing. This was, you did an inch of just stockinette. You cast on, did an inch of stockinette, then you did another inch of, I think, a 1x1 rib, and then you did your increases to start, the kind of the body of the hat.
Okay.
Well, and what was nice about it is that stockinette rolled up and made a nice little sort of roll. It was cute. I really
liked edging.
Like an edging. Yeah, it was really cute. I really liked that. And I thought, well, that part I liked. I thought, well, I could even just do that and then just do stockinette for the rest of the hat.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why you just can't get creative and hats are not that complicated. It's just
yeah, and you could do stockinette, or you could do like moss stitch or a combination, or you could do kind of have a clean not a clean slate, a palette. No, a blank canvas. That's what I'm trying.
Have another sip
poor
of coffee,
congested
Kelly.
Head. Yeah, my poor congested head is very, very foggy this morning.
Anyway, but that's it for me for projects. So how about you?
Well, I finished my Havannah.
Oh, yay!
The sweater, yes. I was able to finish the last sleeve of it on one of the drives. And I really like it. I have not washed it or woven in the ends. In fact, I haven't even tried it on. I've tried it on along the way, but now that it's done, I haven't tried it on. And I thought I would do that this morning, but when you feel all germy, I just didn't want to put my my pretty new sweater on my germy body. So I didn't try it on, but I know it fits at the top, and the only question is whether it's long enough. Mm-hmm. And I think it is. I wanted it to be a little longer, and so I went a little longer than I normally would have. Like the length is more inches than what like the Edie is. Mm-hmm. It's a little longer than the Edie. So, but I didn't want to get too carried away because it's silk, and so I know that it will have a tendency to drape more. So, but I'm really happy with that pattern. In fact, I was thinking about, some future sweater planning and thought, oh, maybe I'll make another one of these. It is kind of distinctive because of the detail at the neckline, but I have plenty of clothes where I have the same shirt in multiple colors, that I've bought at the store that have distinctive things about them. So anyway, so it's a candidate for another sweater because the fit is good and the knitting is really pretty simple. Mm-hmm. But the detail is real effective. I did not do the beading. It has beading at the top, and I didn't do the beading. I just did yarn over knit two together, so it has holes instead of beading on the neckline. They have you do the same detail to the sleeves. So the sleeves go down. The length of them will probably go down so that the very edge of the sleeve will be at the crook of my elbow. Okay. Which is what I wanted, a kind of a longer short sleeve than the Edie. So I'm really happy with it. The pattern designer is Heidimarie Kaiser, and yeah, I really recommend it. And it has the nicest edging at the bottom. You know how stockinette, yeah, I'm always searching for what to do at the bottom of a sweater because I don't want the rolling.
Right.
And so on the Edie, both times I think I've done moss stitch or seed stitch. I think moss stitch is the one where it's two stitches, 2 purl, 2 knit, 2 purl, 2 knit, and then alternate. Anyway, I've done that, but I still get, it doesn't roll, but it like folds right at the edge where it changes from stockinette to the, so I have to, when I wash it, I have to kind of fold it back the other, kind of press it down. But this edge was really nice. It was, you purl 2 rows and then you knit 3 rows and then you bind off. So you have this little purl bump. So, it's in the round. So you have a reverse stockinette ridge. And then when you knit the 3 rows, that sort of curls it back, right, toward that ridge.
Right.
And then you do the bind off. So you have facing out, you have the chain of the bind off. So it's rolling, but it doesn't, the rolling is part of, kind of like the hat you're talking about, that stockinette rolling is part of the detail.
Part of the detail, yeah. That's nice.
It is. It's a really nice edge for a sweater, and I want to remember that the next time I make Edie, maybe, I'll try that. When I first bound it off, they said bind off loosely, and I was worried. I don't know why I was worried, because I don't tend to bind off really tight. And it wasn't the neck, it was the bottom of the sweater. But I thought, I'll just use a bigger needle. And I had one sitting there, so I used a bigger needle. And it got all ruffly. So I did take out the bind off and redo it. But it's a really nice edging for a sweater, I think.
Okay.
So that's done. Off the needles. And ready to wear. I don't know that I'll be able to wear it on the trip. I think it might be a little too warm. I'm not sure. It's supposed to be thunderstorms and stuff. But anyway, I will be probably taking it with me. So I have that done.
Very good. Exciting.
And then, And then on the needles right now, while we talk, I'm just knitting another one of those in threes baby sweaters. So I gave the 3 of them away. And then I have a third baby, or a fourth baby. Well, no, it's actually a third mom. 4th baby, because one of the moms is having twins. So this has been my knitting since I finished the Havannah. Because even though I had 2 pairs of socks on the needles, I don't know if you remember, I was making those CoBaSi yarn striped socks last time. And then I also have the 9-inch circular socks, short socks. So I got out I did the heel on the CoBaSi striped socks, and then I tried it on, and it's too small.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, too small. So that's going to have to be ripped. It's not salvageable.
I'm going to interrupt for just 1 second. Did you read in the discussion thread when we were talking about the CoBaSi in the last episode? One of our listeners was like, did they say kielbasa? Like the sausage?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yes.
I think I'm going to change the name of them in Ravelry to the kielbasa sauce.
Yes, I think you should.
Oh, that's cute.
So CoBaSi, yes. Anyway.
CoBaSi, because I guess I should say this so people know, because the yarn is cotton, bamboo, and silk. So that's why it's called CoBaSi.
Yeah.
I think it also has elastic in it or something that makes it stretchy, but it's not quite stretchy as wool, and so they did not fit.
Yeah.
So those are getting ripped out. I'll probably bring them on the trip because they are pretty easy, even though you have to manage the color.
Right.
I think they're pretty easy. So I will rip them out and start again.
Right.
I love the colors. Those colors that we picked are so pretty.
Yeah,
it's like a Caribbean marine blue and a, what are those poppies? The bread poppies, or it's kind of orange, orangey red. But anyway, really pretty.
Yeah.
The combination is really nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So those, and then I had been making at Stitches. Here I am, all this beautiful yarn at Stitches. And what did I grab to take with me to knit on at Stitches in February? it was one of those last minute, I need a project. I grabbed Heart and Soul.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was the Heart and Soul with the red Heart and Soul with, not bamboo, my head, with aloe.
Yeah. Now, I like that Heart and Soul, I have to say.
I like it too.
Those socks last forever, but you're right. You're surrounded by all these really fabulous stuff, and you're working on the workhorse, using workhorse yarn. Right?
Yes. Yeah. $3.99 a ball or something. But out of one ball, I can get 2 short socks, and so that's what I was making. And because I was using the 9-inch circulars to, sort of experiment with them and see if I like them, I was just going to make a tube and then put in afterthought heels. So last week, or maybe last weekend, I put in the afterthought heels. I did my snipping, got, the right needles to make a heel. I knit the heel. I was trying the sock on as I was knitting the heel, because I don't usually make that type of heel where you just make it's kind of like you just do a toe. At the heel part, and I don't know why it works, but it does, because your heel and your toe are not the same at all.
Right, your heel's not really pointed, right?
No. Yeah. But it works, and so I was trying them on, and I'm like, these are a little tight. Well, you know why they're tight? Because I use my regular stitch count of 64, and I think instead of ones, they're zeros or something.
Oh.
Or maybe instead of wooden zeros, they're metal zeros. Anyway, they were too tight. And I had not been able to try them on before because they were just like a tube. They were just like a tube that you can't do that. So I thought, they'll be okay. And I thought, you know what? It's dumb. You just did this as an experiment. Consider it a giant swatch. 2 socks. 2 short socks. 2 full short socks swatch. Because I finished both of them without their heels. Consider it a giant swatch and just rip it out and start over. I mean, it's not like it's, it's just knitting. It was just fill the time knitting.
Right.
And test out 9-inch circular needles.
And what's your feeling about 9-inch circular needles?
I think for these short socks, I think they're a good idea. I mean, they're fast. You can go faster. As long as I did not start them on the 9-inch circulars. I started them on double points and then moved them to the circulars because I didn't want to fiddle with that. The ribbing is a little harder to do with the 9-inch circulars, but the stockinette, once I got used to it, is not my favorite way to knit a sock. It will never be my favorite way to knit a sock, but I think it's a decent idea for a fast, short sock. And I like a heel flap and gusset better than I like an afterthought. So,
do you think the heel flap and gusset fits better?
I haven't made enough of my only other pair of afterthought heels is in a pair of socks that's too big for me. On purpose. I mean, I purposely made them. I knew they were going to be a little bit big, and I went ahead and made them that size anyway. To give away as a gift. But the heels felt okay on those. I mean, the sock was big, but the heel felt all right. But I just prefer making the heel flap and gusset. So I think the 9-inch circulars would be good if I ever made another striping pair of socks that was just stockinette. I rarely make stockinette socks.
Right.
And so, to have a leg of stockinette with the 9-inch circulars would be fine. And then change to the double points to do the heel flap and gusset, and then change back to the 9-inch circulars for the foot, maybe. I mean, I could see doing that. Or, like if I'm doing short socks, start them on double points, get past the heel, and then put them on 9-inch circulars to finish the foot. I don't know.
So why can't you do the heel flap on 9-inch circulars?
It just feels like it. I don't know. I didn't try it.
Oh,
I honestly didn't try it. They're really designed to do. They're really designed to do a circle.
Okay.
And so it just felt like I wouldn't be. But you know what? I never even thought of trying it. Maybe I'll try that next time and see what happens. It might work better. And I think I felt like with the 9-inch circulars, my stitch count wasn't quite enough to go around the 9 inches. So I might also I'm going to do these socks again with the 9-inch circulars with more stitches. Mm-hmm. And I might even feel like I like them better with more stitches.
Yeah.
Because I just kept feeling like a little bit of a stretch, mm-hmm. To make it around the 9 mm-hmm. inches.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. I like double points. I like my wooden birch double points. Those are my favorites.
My socks, I just use double point, and I like they're wood or bamboo mm-hmm. or something, and I actually like those because they are a little, the wood is a little sort of like sticky, kind of like, I don't know, yeah. Otherwise I sometimes find with the metal, the stitches will slip off, and
right.
So.
Well, yeah, people talk about losing their double points, and I mean, my double points won't fall out because it's the same thing. They are very, they grab. They're not bamboo. Mine are birch, I think. Yeah. But anyway, I really like double point for socks. Yeah. And I like doing patterned socks. So for a short sock, you don't do a pattern because mm-hmm. it's only the foot. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense to use the 9-inch circulars for a short sock, I think, because they're fast. Mm-hmm. You pick up a lot of speed by not having to rearrange your needles.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my not so glowing review of 9-inch circulars, but I think they have a purpose.
Yeah.
And I will definitely use them again.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 pairs of socks that ended in failure. So.
No, not failure. Not failure, just learning. You just learned something.
Correct. Yes. Two really pretty. Actually, 2 really. Well, one of them was just a single sock. So 3 really nice swatches. Which now I will rip out and actually knit the real thing.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So yeah, that's my knitting at the moment, and then I have a lot of planning going on.
Okay.
Fantasy knitting.
So what's your fantasy knitting?
Well, we can take a little stroll through my queue here.
Okay.
One of the things that I got out while I was sitting and knitting, the Havannah, was a bag of yarn that I've had for a while. It was during my sort of frenzy of buying cotton yarn when I discovered that mm-hmm. knitting a sweater really wasn't such a big deal. Mm-hmm. And so I was going on webs, like every other morning. The yarn is called, it's SMC Select Violena Colori, and it's mm-hmm. 50% cotton and 50% modal, which I think is a mm-hmm. rayon, like a brand mm-hmm. name for a rayon.
Okay.
Or a brand name for a cellulose wood fiber product. And mm-hmm. the color of it, I think it was called tomato anthracite or something like that, or anthracite. Anyway, it's red and gray, mm-hmm. and it's because it's a cotton yarn. It's got that interesting ply structure, right, that you don't mm-hmm. always get in a wool yarn. So this one is a cabled yarn, which means that it has 4 like 3 ply strands that are then mm-hmm. Plied together.
Okay.
So the colors. The reason I'm saying that is because that you get these little speckles of color mm-hmm. when you do that, like mm-hmm. with a hand spun yarn. So you have different mm-hmm. plies in different colors. If you just have 2 plies and you ply them together, you get like this barber pole. Right. But if you take 2 plies and ply them together, then you get little speckles. And that's what this looks like. It's little speckles of red and mm-hmm. a light gray and a darker gray. It's really pretty color. It's a sport weight. So I have a sweater quantity of this. I don't remember how many yards, but I have quite a few yards of this. And I'm thinking it will make a nice sweater. First I was thinking, I'll make another one of the Havannahs, but it's sport weight, not fingering, so I don't think that will work. I would need to do some calculating, and I don't want to do calculating for trip knitting. Mm-hmm. So
right,
yeah,
right.
So that's one thing, and I have this. I traded some yarn to someone a long time ago. Oh, I guess so. When would that have been? 2014. So yeah, about 3 years ago, I traded. Somebody had some yarn. Somebody was requesting some yarn, and I had it left. It was from the swirl sweater. I had leftover yarn from the swirl sweater, and somebody was looking for it and messaged me. And so I sent it to her, and she wanted to pay me. And I said, it's fine, but why don't you just get me a pattern? And so I told her the pattern that I wanted is called Lavender Honey by Agnes Kutas Carestes. And it's a long-sleeved t-shirt top. Has a little bit of texture. They show it in a long sleeve and a short sleeve version. And the texture looks like little circles. All over texture with these little circles. So two versions of the design, a sweet summer tee and a lacy long sleeve pullover worked in the round from the top down. So I think that might be what I'm going to do with this. It was kind of what I originally intended, and then I just never started it. So that's.
I'm looking it up as we're talking.
I
yes,
really
that's
like
very
it.
cute.
It has it has a lacy, kind of a lacy detail, not anything big that will that will matter. That the yarn is kind of an all over speckly color, but it is raglan sleeves. It just looks like it would be an easy thing to throw on, and so I think I'll make it, and I think I have enough to make the long sleeve version, and I think that's what I'll do. Because I wear t-shirts a lot to work, and it would be nice to have something with longer sleeves. So that's one thing. The other thing, when I sit in the sunroom, well, when you sit in the sunroom, you can look out the window, right? Or you can look at the shelf of yarn. And often when I sit and knit, I look at the shelf of yarn. And ideas spring into my mind about which yarns can go together. So then I get up and I move them to put them together on the shelf, and then I look at them some more. So the thing I've been looking at are the two cones of Habu that I have. The one red Sumugi silk, that is 450 yards, and then I have the 100%. They're both 100% silk, but the other one is called Taken Viscose Silk. So it's a single strand, I think. I think I talked about them when I bought this purple one, because we bought it at the Yarns at the Adobe's last trip. So anyway, I have them sitting on the shelf together, and the more I looked at them, the more I liked those two colors together. And it's really funny because this is red and eggplant, the combination, and then the yarn that I was looking at for this lavender honey sweater is red and gray. So I think I'm moving into a red phase.
Yes.
So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these two cones, but I'm thinking I was looking online at patterns, trying to find something similar to the mohair bias loop, that poncho, where I could hold, do it one strand of purple for a while, and then do a strand of red for a while, and then do strands two held together for a while. That's what I'm thinking. And I did not find a pattern like that, but I think I'm just going to go back to that mohair bias loop and make that.
Make up use it as a blank. What did you call it? Blank canvas.
Blank canvas. Yes, a clean palette, a clean slate. No,
whatever.
Blank canvas. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Although there is another pattern, a shawl pattern, that again this would probably not be good trip knitting, but it's a really cool pattern. It's called Hundertwasser Neptunia.
Okay.
Where do I find these things?
I know, and I was thinking, Kelly, when you say that, we need to find patterns that we can pronounce. Not only the name of the pattern, but also correctly pronounce the name of the designer.
Yes, because this one is by Heidren Liegman. Or Heidren Liegman, I think. Or Heidren Liegman. My German pronunciation is not the greatest.
I know.
So yeah, it's a 2-color shawl, triangular, and it's stripes, but within the stripes there are other stripes. So that would be kind of fun. But I think it's more designed for a fingering weight, and I really think what I need is that blank slate so that I can just play with the combinations of colors.
Right.
And for the life of me, I couldn't find, but I know that there are so many shibui patterns that, those shibui yarns that they do that with. They sort of trade out yarns. And I thought, that's what I'll do. I'll find that shibui. Well, I found a couple, but they were just scarves or cowls. And I thought, okay, well, what I'm looking for is a stitch count. This is one of those times where I'm not making anything that complicated. I could figure it out, but it'd be really nice to just have a pattern that says cast on this many and go. And so I think I'm just going to use the mohair bias loop. I already have that pattern, so I've made it before. But I think I have 800 yards of this silk, so I don't know. I don't know. I'll play around with it. I kind of like to use it all, and that would make it kind of big. So, but that's another thing I'm looking at. And then what's at the top of my queue is the Cancun Boxy Lace Top by Erin Kate Archer. And that one is
that's a cute pattern.
Really cute pattern. And that's another one of those. I don't think this would be very good trip knitting. Just because there's all these different lace patterns, but it is something I'd like to make, and I have that Sincere Sheep linen that I really want to do something with. So that's there, but I don't think I'm going to start that in the next couple of weeks. And then there's Icarus is in my queue. It's a tank. It's a free pattern, I believe. I think it's a Knitty pattern. Icarus by Leah Goldstein. Yeah, it was in Knitty Spring and Summer 2014. And it's a tank that has a lacy back. So the back of it is all lace. The front, I think, is solid. But the back has like a triangle V, deep triangle V of lace. Again, not a good trip knitting, but it would be good. And I have a tank quantity of cotton, again webs, that Valley yarn in a coral color, so I could do that. So that's on the plan. And then there's another one, again, not good trip knitting because I don't know why I'm on this fantasy knitting of lace, but there's a cardigan that's called the Sea Glass Cardi by Ella Torrenti. I believe it was also a free pattern because I have it in my library, and I don't usually buy patterns just because I might someday use them.
Right.
But I do, if I see a free pattern that I like, I will put it in my queue. So I think this is a free pattern, and it's for cotton yarn, and it's a all over lace short sleeve cardigan, and it's designed, the top part of it is stockinette, raglan sleeve, but it's designed to be, it has buttons, and the way they have it shown, styled on the page, is buttoned up, but with negative ease. So the buttons are gaping, but it looks like that's the way it's supposed to be. It looks like it's doing that on purpose. But then other people are wearing it with, 3 buttons at the top buttoned, or 1 button at the top buttoned, or unbuttoned. So it looks good in a lot of different ways. And you could make it with, less negative ease, and then it would button nicely without gaping. But anyway, that's another thing on my possibilities list. So yeah, lots of cardigans. And then the very last thing that I was looking at, and I thought, this is really would be a good thing to do. I've been doing so many sweaters, but in my queue I have. Do you remember when I was listening to the Chameleon podcast?
Right.
I haven't listened to the Chameleon podcast in a long time, but honestly, that was a great one. And I follow him on Instagram, so I see chameleon pictures quite often. And there is a pattern for Camellia, the chameleon, a crocheted chameleon, and she's darling. She's like lime green with the buggy eyes and orange and the little feet that grab around and I thought, maybe I'll just do something like this, a little crochet toy that'll go fast. So I might bring something. It might be a little too fiddly for trip knitting, but I don't know. We'll have a lot of time in the car, and knitting in the car is, you can do something as fiddly as I want. So
right.
So anyway, lots of things on my mind swirling around. And most of them are not really the kind of thing that you should bring with you on a trip.
Well, yes, probably you're right. But if it's something you really want to do, that's kind of, I mean, you have to kind of make what's inspiring you.
Yeah. I think the lavender honey would work okay because the little lace motifs are, like, they're very regular. So I think it would be.
Yeah, it's not like the, that doily thing you made up. Needling, your needling. Yeah, it's not like that. Right. It's a very sort of geometric lace pattern. So probably, and a lot of times those you can kind of just memorize it.
And you can see it. You know, you can see. Oh yeah, this is the row where I do this. So I think that might be good because that's a lot of knitting to do a sweater in sport weight. Just like the one I just finished was a lot of stitches. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then the Mobius, that bias, not Mobius, mohair bias loop from Church Mouse. That one would be, I mean, that's like it's like a giant stockinette rectangle. Right.
Except joined in a loop, right?
Yeah, no, well, not a rectangle, but a bias like a
yeah, but it's knit flat, and then you do a Kitchener stitch.
You do a
to join
bazillion Kitchener stitches, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be basically a stockinette rectangle.
I made that. I bought the yarn because what do they use? Kid Silk Haze or something they're supposed to use for that pattern, and I bought that over at Church Mouse. I bought the pattern and I bought the yarn, and I knit the whole thing, and I'm almost done. I have maybe like another 2 inches, and I realized I dropped a stitch way back, way back. And I thought, I don't know. I'm thinking what I was actually thinking I might do is just rip it out and then just combine it with another yarn, and make a shawl or something. Yeah. Because I don't know that I.
Would you even notice? Like, what if you just put a little piece of thread, whatever color it is, and just tie it around your drop stitch and tie it to the next stitch and weave it in like woven in ends. You know, kind of sew it, like split the yarn and sew it in.
I thought about that. It's so fine. This yarn, because it's lace. It's like extra fine lace. I mean, but it's kind of fuzzy. And I think you would see it. Yeah. You know, there's some yarns you can weave in, you know, and you don't really notice it at all. But this one is so, and also because it's so open. If it was a tighter knit, but it's so open and airy,
you can see the drop stitch.
I think you would see that.
Oh, that's a bummer.
You'd see where
large swatch.
I don't care. Large swatch.
Oh, funny.
Anyway.
Yeah. So those are my plans. I'm looking forward to having some time to actually think through what I'm gonna put in my bag, and then probably as we're leaving, I'll be like wildly grabbing yarn and stuffing it into the suitcase just in case the things I'm planning to bring don't satisfy me.
So, are you going to do carry-on, or are you actually checking bags?
I told Robert we're going to check bags.
Good. So that means you can just really stuff it full.
That's right. I have.
You often, when you come up to visit me, you just take one carry-on that you both share.
Right.
So,
and this is not that is not going to happen for this trip. So we have a larger. Both of the suitcases we have are supposedly the right size for the carry-ons. Mm-hmm. I think the airlines have made them smaller since we bought these suitcases. I mean, they do work. But I don't want to mess with it. It's a nonstop flight, so you know it's not like we're gonna lose our luggage in a transfer by checking it. And I mean, we might still lose our luggage. That can happen. A knock on wood.
Yeah, don't say that, Kelly.
Yeah,
don't ever say. Oh, we're not gonna lose our luggage.
But yeah, I want to have the freedom to pack what I need, what I want and need to pack. It really doesn't take that much longer. You have to walk through baggage claim anyway to get out to the rental cars.
Well, and I say that, I mean, when I come down to visit you, right, that's most of my flights are recently just been coming to visit you, and again, a nonstop flight. And when I arrive in San Jose, they guarantee you get your bag in less than 20 minutes, and you do. I mean, it really is not a big deal. And now, because I fly Alaska, and I have the Alaska credit card, your bags are checked free. You don't pay anything. Right. And I honestly, even if I bring my small carry-on bag, I just check it now because I hate all that I'm such a crank, but I hate all that turmoil of getting on a plane and everybody trying to get their jostling to get their bags in the overhead. I like just being able to get my seat, I sit down, and I start knitting. Yeah. And I don't have to do any of that stuff.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I can see the appeal. It makes the
oh, yeah.
I can see the appeal of it, I guess. But yeah, this like, oh, we have to get up to the front of the line because we have to be there so we can put our bags in, and like, oh, get the space for our bags. Like, everybody has bags that are way too big for what they're supposed to be carrying on. That for me, I just put, and I'm short, so I always just put whatever I bring, like the bag that we use when we come up to see you, that one. It's squishy. It's not one of those hard-sided ones. So unless we've really super packed it full, it actually fits under the seat. And that doesn't, cramp my leg room. And I'd much rather not have to fight for a spot in the upper compartment. And when I fly by myself,
you can't get it in the overhead bin because you can't reach the overhead
Well, I
bin,
have a little bit of trouble. And then when you're getting it out, you have to make sure that you don't like land it on somebody's head because I kind of have to drop it to myself.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just putting mine under the seat. You people can do all you want fighting about the overhead compartments. I am not going to get into that.
No, I won't do it. I always just check my bag. I just like.
Well, and our flights were really inexpensive, I thought. So, I mean, we got them a while ago, but I didn't think our flights were that expensive. So, if you have to pay extra a little bit to check your bag.
Well, you know what a lot of people do now, every time I fly down to visit you and back, a lot of people, they have their carry-on, and then that's because the airlines book the flights so they're so full, and they don't have enough space for everybody because the planes were not really intended for people just to put their bag in the overhead, right?
Right.
So there's really not enough space for all the people who are on the plane.
Yeah.
That a lot of people, then they start announcing that you can check your bag. You just can check your bag for free.
Right. And now people game that system. Yeah.
I think people are playing that, like okay, and then they get to check their bag for free.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway. Well, that was a side,
a little side tangent, but
a little side tangent.
But the main point is, I will have plenty of room to bring projects.
Yes, right.
Plenty of room in case I find good yarn shops. Plenty of room to bring home yarn. So we'll see.
Oh yes, bring home yarn. That's the most important thing.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that's it. Marsha, you have anything else to talk about?
Well, I was just going to say I'm in a planning frenzy too. So but I don't need to talk about that. I'll talk about that later on.
Okay.
The only thing I was going to say, I wanted to give a shout out to one of our listeners and a participant in the group, but Mary, knit admin. And because we were talking about, how when I was talking about my easy folded poncho and how I'm trying to get this done by a certain date, and I've been tracking how many inches I'm doing. I thought of her because she is working or finished the beekeeper's. I have to get the right name here.
The beekeeper's quilt.
The beekeeper's quilt, and it's the little hexapuffs. Is that what you call them?
Yeah.
Where you make these and then stuff them with a little bit of fiber. What are they stuff that you make?
Fiber fill.
Fiber fill. And then you have to make she made over 500 of these, I believe. And she shows up every year at the Knockers retreat. And this year, at one of our meals, she was working on one of them, and she said she had a plan, like she had a timeline that she put together.
Wasn't it like a 5-year plan or something?
A 5-year plan, and she figured how many she had to make per year, which is how many she had to make per month, and she, I think, also did a lot of knitting at doctor's appointments and emergency room visits and whatnot. So anyway, she finished it, and she posted a picture of it in the thread. So if people are interested, you can look in the Epic Projects thread. She posted a picture of it. And Mary has a studio, which I'm jealous of, that somebody has actually a separate room just for their projects. And when she was telling me that when they built this room, she also bought a rug. In the rug she bought keeping in mind that she was making this quilt, beekeeper's quilt, so to go with the rug. And she posted a picture in the thread with the rug and the beekeeper's quilt together.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I'll have to stop. I'll have to go and look. I've been off Ravelry for a couple of days, so
yeah. So
nice.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Mary. Good job.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
that is very cool. All right.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Until next time.
All right, everyone.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening. To subscribe to the podcast, visit 2usfiberadventures.com. We have links for iTunes, Google Play Music, YouTube, and others.
Join us on our adventures on Ravelry and Instagram. I am Better in Motion, and Kelly is 100 Projects.
Until next time, we're the 2 U's
doing our part for World Fleece.